Hello and welcome back, everybody. Today we have an awesome interview with one of my best friends from Romania, and honestly, one of the coolest people I've ever met. Ben is just an outstanding guy, just super awesome and super fun to be around. I loved living with him, and I love spending time in Romania with him and learning Romanian together and learning more about the Romanian culture. So I kind of want to go and kind of pick his brain about Romania. So my first question to Ben is, while learning Romanian, were there any struggles you faced, and what advice would you give to anyone trying to learn Romanian?
I think like learning any language, at first you're going to be kind of self-conscious and kind of self-aware about your own abilities. And honestly, I think for me that probably hurt more than it helped, because maybe I was scared to like not take an opportunity to go and talk to somebody because I was like scared I didn't know what to say or something like that. Um, so I think the thing that helped me the most is just trying, making mistakes, not being super self-conscious about what other people might be thinking about you, like, oh, he doesn't know that word, whatever. Honestly, what also really helped me is early on I got a grammar book. I can't remember which one, but I wanted to go in and learn every single rule. So I wanted to learn every single rule, every grammar rule or whatever. Um, and then so I did. I studied the heck out of that book. Then and then after that, after you know the rules, you know that you got like a fence around you, and then inside of that little area, you like all that's left is just vocabulary, right? So um and like you would learn a word, and then you would go outside and you would start to see that word like everywhere, like on billboards or whatever. And you'd be like, oh, I haven't actually seen that word until I learned it. But reality is you probably did see that word, you just didn't know it now. Now you're recognizing it. Um, I will say that fluency, like full fluency, is like, I mean, in my experience, it's almost impossible. And and I think that's like you can learn every single rule in the whole grammar book. You can learn every single vocabulary word. Um, but the pronunciation and then the fluency is like the hardest to get, probably like later on in your time there. Those that's going to be like the core of your focus. Um, I mean, for example, like somebody learning English, they might take an English class and they might learn how to like take a phone call or something like that. And and they'll learn the words like okay, goodbye, yes, it was nice talking to you, goodbye, whatever. And then they actually hear one of us talk and we're like, all right, I'll let you go, see ya. And they're like, what was that? Like I didn't learn that in my class. So I mean it's stuff like that because like you learn the language and then you go over there and then they say different stuff. You're like, why didn't you just say like the stuff that I learned in the book? But um, no, Romanian, it's a very cool language. It's not necessarily the hardest to learn, um, and it sounds great, and especially when Romanians speak it, it sounds awesome. Um, but it was fun. It's a fun language to learn.
Ben, that is such a great answer. The language in Romania is so amazing. Romanian is super, super incredible. I have another follow-up question. Before going to Romania, what did you think it would be like? And had you heard of Romania before?
Yeah. Before I went to Romania, I had heard of it, but I didn't know much about it. And I mean, thinking back, probably what, like when I thought of Romania, I probably pictured in my mind what Latsara is. Like I kind of just pictured like hills and like maybe some old churches and, a bunch of people living simple lives with their like pigs and sheep and stuff. Yeah, I didn't really know, I didn't know any city names. I think I maybe had heard of Romanian, but I didn't know any words or anything like that. So it was new. It was very new for me.
Awesome, awesome, Ben. And kind of piggybacking off of that question, when you went to Romania, did you have any culture shock? And what was it like for you? And how did you also adapt and overcome that culture shock?
Um, I think what helped was the fact that like people like you and I, we were we were living with other Americans, right? We, we weren't totally alone in the place that we were at. So we were, we had come from similar backgrounds. We had, we were speaking English, in the apartments or whatever, and then Romanian when we went out. Um, I think I didn't really go in with a whole lot of expectation. Like I said earlier, like I didn't really know much about Romania before, so I kind of was just like, whatever it is, you know, I'm just gonna go with it. But what I found fascinating actually is that Romania is it's very diverse in the way it looks. Um, and I think you can kind of categorize it into kind of three areas. There's like the old European architecture and the old European way of life, and then there's like the former communists, architecture or whatever, with the cement concrete apartments, and then there's a lot of modern European stuff, right? And if you remember Hagen, the old mission office out of Laiku, that I think that actually sums it up pretty well because when you go there, you got like the old churches, you got the old cement apartment buildings, and then you've got like a super fancy mall and like skyscrapers and stuff. And you go inside of that mall and and it's like marble floors and like glass windows, and they're like blasting American pop music and it smells really good. They got a nice food court, and it's like this could be Fashion Place Mall in Murray. But then you go outside and there's just like this old 70s tramway going by, and there's like weeds growing out of the sidewalk and stuff. So it's very, it's a stark contrast between the old and the new. I thought that was unique.
Ben, that is so awesome you were able to connect all three essentially histories and timelines of Romania and kind of bring them all together in one place. That is seriously so, so cool and such an awesome experience. Kind of going off of that, were you able to visit any historical landmarks and what was it like to visit those places?
Yeah. Yeah, I think like Romania is it's basically like a full country full of like, it's basically a country-sized history book, right? Like I said earlier, you got the old stuff, you got the new stuff, and it all comes together. Like you'll be in a random village somewhere and it's like this structure was built by the Dacians, in the year 200. It's like, oh dang. Like it still remains today. Like I mean, it's all crumbled and stuff, but oh, like wow. And then you've got, the like some medieval churches from like the Middle Ages, and a bunch of castles from, maybe the last 300 years. So there's a lot of really cool historical stuff to see there. And I mean, and you don't even have to go very far. Like if you're in the cities, you just go to like the town square, and they're always named after some like old great Romanian. It'll be like Piazza Ștefan cel Mare or something like that. Cel Mare. Um, and there's like a big grand statue of him riding a horse, and there's a little plaque talking about who that person was and stuff like that. So it's fun. It's fun just going about your day and stumbling upon old stuff. And there are like really well preserved cities there, Sighișoara, Sibiu, Brașov, that have, a lot of old European um, squares and buildings and stuff like that to visit. It's really cool.
Ben, I know you just talked about the squares and the places to visit in Romania, but what kind of customs and traditions did you also find interesting?
Yeah, I think what I found most interesting about that is how excited the Romanians get about their own customs and traditions. Like, um, no, I mean, thinking back, there's like, I mean, the biggest ones are like religious holidays, like Easter and Christmas. Those are probably the big two. And I guess in their Independence Day too. But it was something that they looked forward to a lot. So like, you could ask somebody like what's going on, like what's up, and they would tell you like, oh, I'm really excited for Ziwa Mame. It's in 3 weeks. It's like, oh, it's like, yeah, same actually. It's awesome. Um, but it was fun. They went all out for all of their holidays. like Independence Day, for example, on December 1st, you could always count on a free concert and fireworks in the town square. Um, and I know that we partook in that a lot. It's a great place to meet people. But no, Romania, they have, um, yeah, like I said, they go all out for their holidays. They really enjoy it.
Ben, that just like takes me back to when we spent New Year's Eve together and we got to see the fireworks and just how incredible New Year's was in Romania. Absolutely, absolutely awesome. My next question here, Ben, is what was the food like in Romania and what were some of your favorite dishes?
Yeah, the food was absolutely awesome. And I mean, going back to the to traditions question that you asked me, um, they have their traditional meals and their foods, and they made them all the time. And it was fantastic because they're all great. Like you'd go over to someone's house and like for dinner, and you could count on like one of, seven things. It's like I'm gonna have chorba or I'm gonna have sarmale or maybe both. And there's gonna be some bread and it's gonna all be great. Zakuska, it was all great. No, I think my favorite was the chorba, which is the sour soup. Um, the chorba. I mean, I didn't really care what was in it. I like the sourness of it. I think my taste buds. I'm always craving something that's sour or spicy. But yeah, I mean, whether it was chicken or meatballs or cow stomach, I didn't really care. I just loved the chorba.
And Ben, to end our interview today, is there anything you would like to tell the Romanian and Moldovan people?
Pentru mine a fost atât de distractiv să stau în România. Am fost acolo de 2 ani. Și mi-a plăcut toată țara. Orașele, satele, parcurile, oamenii, mâncarea. I loved the whole thing.